Joshua. I'm going to be showing you how to change the car tire. Specifically how to change this car tire, but the process will work with any tires you have. So I think it's important to know how to change your car tire, and pretty much only any context, especially if you're a driver or you even plan on getting a car. Eventually, you are going to get a flat tire. You know, I probably had 3 flat tires in 6 years of driving, and it's very important to know how to change it, because if you're on the side of the road, you're just sitting there, either you have to call a tow truck to come tow your car, which will cost money, or you're gonna have to wait for someone to come by and help you change your car tire, which time is money, and you know, it's expensive to hire a tow truck to tow things. I'm gonna be showing the tools you would need. In any car, usually they're in the back in the trunk area. For this one specifically, you just lift this little flap up here, and you got your jack right here, your tire iron, and a thing to help lift it up. It goes in here like this, which I will explain later. Now, I'm not going to be using the spare tire, but if you do have a flat on the road, you find the spare tire usually in the trunk. And what you do is you lift this part up here, and then up here, you take this out, and you'll be able to access your spare tire, which is right here. Now, the very next thing you will want to do is, to engage some safety measures. Now, if you have a manual, you'd be putting it into first gear, but since this is an automatic, you make sure you have it in park, right? And then you engage the parking brake. Now, the next thing you want to do is come to the back and put some type of wedge in the tire so your car won't slip if it moves. So I'm just using this shovel, and you just put it like this, and then your car will be harder to move back, and so it won't slip very often. And so the next thing you want to do is, if your car has this type of thing on it, or like a hubcap, if it's a hubcap, you might want to use a flathead or some type of flat thing to pry it open, but for this one, I'll just need to pull it off. So you can see them gently, since it is plastic, it is very easily broken, so as you use, it just pops right off. Now, the very next thing you want to do is to take your tire iron, which is this right here. You want to place it on one of the nuts. Make sure they fit. If it's loose, they don't fit. But see, this one's not loose. It's tight. Now I just want to loosen it up a little bit. So you just take your hand, oh God, loosen it up a little bit, like this. You do this to every single one, not untaking it off all the way, but just loosen it up. Make sure they're all loose. This one's not loose. I'm gonna go back to this one and loosen it just a little bit more. Now it's loose. Make sure they're all loose. Oh, that one's also not loose. Make sure they're all loose to your hand. Now they're all loose. Now for this part, you're gonna have to get on your knees and go down kind of under the car, right? So underneath the car, you see these parts, the hard metal, right? This is plastic, the hard metal. You want to put this on the hard metal, specifically the frame. Now this is the frame because you can see it attaches to the whole car, attaches to this outside part right here. So you want to put this somewhere around on the frame that's hard metal. So I'm going to put it right here. It looks like there's a little soft spot, which looks like it's where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to put it right about here and make sure it's kind of lined up straight with it, so it's not going to be touching at an angle. Now for the next step, you're going to just move it up. So turn it right? As you can see, I'm turning it right, and it's moving up. Right? You just want to get to it touches the car. Right? And you keep watching where that's going to go. And you can make adjustments to it. There. Make sure, you can even move it up. You see the car is moving up slightly, right? Now, you want to take the hook right here. This thing has a hook. And most cars will have something like this. I'm just gonna hook it like this, like that, right? And for this type of tire iron, this conveniently has a little slot in it. You can just position it right here, and then you can twist it like this, which continues to move the car up. Now make sure you keep checking, make sure it's not slipping at all. Make sure it's nice and steady and not slipping at all. Because if it slips, that means your car could fall down, especially if you're underneath your car. This would not be good. And you can maybe even die. And you keep twisting it, and you don't have to worry about the safety of the jack. Jacks are usually pretty strong. This is not hard to do. having barely any pressure on it. It's not taking any effort. As you see, I'm not quite there because the tire is still on the ground. So I want to keep pushing it up. Now before you actually change the car tire, you just want to make sure that your jack is steady. You know, take a look at it. Make sure it's not actually puncturing. See, as you can see, it's not puncturing. This is part of the frame, so it's not going to damage it at all. If I did attach it to this part right here, or even this right here, this part right here, it would clearly puncture through that and maybe even hurt your car. So you want to make sure, I'm very specific on this, to jack it up where the frame is. Now the frame's any hard metal part that attaches to the whole part of the car. Now for this, since you already loosened it up, which is a very important step to do before you lift your car up, you just loosen them back up. You just take them all off. Make sure you don't lose them, so I'll put them in one spot because you can't just put 3 on. You definitely want to put all 4 on. Now that you got them all off, the car tire, just slide right off. Sometimes you do have to apply a little pressure like I just did, but sometimes they do just come right off, like I did. So, now that you got your tire off, you can either go get your replacement tire or your spare tire, but I'm just gonna use the same tire just because I don't got an extra tire. But so you make sure you want to position it how you took it off, right? You always want this part sticking out. If I put it on this way, it's clearly not going to work. So you want to have this part out. Now you just lift it up like this. You can even set it down here and come down here to make sure that the screws or the bolts line up with it. Go like this. Find the screw holes. And then push it on like this. You kind of want to hold it with your foot. Now what you want to do, right there, now you hold it with your foot. Now you see how this is like this, right? And you can kind of tell where it was against the car. See how this is more cleaner? So this goes against the car where the part is more cleaner against, more worn down. Now you just put them back on slightly. Remember, you can't tighten it up. Here, I'll show you what happens if you try tightening it up with the car tire off the ground. If you were to, say, tighten this, right, you can only go a little bit. But once you go a certain amount, the car tire is going to start to move, as you can see, right? And you don't want that to do that. So what instead I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the car down again. Now for this part, instead of going to the right, you'd be going to the left. Now make sure you do this slowly, not fastly. So you're just like going like this, the same speed as you were lifting the car up. And you would do this until you can actually just move the jack from underneath of your car, until your car is all the way on the ground. Now you want to come back over here with your tire iron and tighten it. Right, you go like this and you just want to give it a nice little tug until it kind of stops moving. It's not super tight, but not loose at all. So it's something you can't move it anymore. Now so this is actually a very important part. So you can either do these two or these two. You don't want to do these two, because if you do these two, your tire might be positioned so it's kind of unbalanced. So after I tighten this one, I'm going straight to the bottom. And if you can't move it anymore, you might want to stand up and kind of use more leverage of your body weight. Now that tire's all done, you can just finish up by putting your hubcap, or, well, I guess this is a cap, and this back on. Just kind of just position it to hit it slightly all the way around. Come on. Just hit it softly. And then you're done. As you see, I did kind of cut my hand a little bit, so that's why you want to be careful when you're underneath the car. I believe I cut it somewhere underneath the car because it can be objects down there that are sharp. There is a lot of metal down there, so you just want to be careful moving your hands around there, which I clearly wasn't, so this is what happens. But you know, it's not a bad cut, so I'm okay.